Welcome to this hour-long Yin Yoga practice to help you process and deal with strong or uncomfortable emotions. This practice is suitable for all and it's suitable for beginners. Just a quick note before we begin. Sometimes strong emotions are not comfortable and understandably we want to get away from them. Our emotions, like us though, need to be seen, felt, heard, and allowed to be there sometimes. Once we allow them some space, they either move on their own, or by questioning them, we can gain insight as to what they need to move on. That might be an action that needs to be taken or a change that needs to be made. No matter what though, the emotion is always valid, and it's safe to allow it to be there. Anything that arises will always move on, so nothing that we experience on the mat today will be permanent. Just keep breathing, allow what comes to come, allow what lingers to linger, and allow what goes to go. If you experience a physical release, like tears for example, just know that tears are just our body's way of letting go of the old and unneeded. So grab as many blankets and cushions as you can. If you have yoga blocks or a yoga bolster, have that handy and ready to go. And let's begin our practice. Welcome to this 1 hour practice for those times when you might be feeling strong, negative, uncomfortable emotion. I'm going to ask you to find a comfortable laying position for an opening Shavasana. If you're not comfortable laying, it's absolutely fine to find a comfortable seated position. Laying on the floor, we can support the lower back if that feels uncomfortable by bending the knees, having cushions, or if you have a bolster, having a bolster underneath the legs, underneath the backs of the knees. You can allow the arms to come down to the floor, just slightly away from the body, palms facing up. And maybe supporting the back of the head or neck with a cushion. So just taking your time to find something that feels really comfortable, something that you can relax into for the next few minutes. If you're cold, have a blanket over the body. You might even have an eye pillow to rest over the eyes. And once you're settled and comfortable, you can allow the eyes to close. Taking a moment then just to soften the muscles around the eyes a little. And soften across the forehead. And the muscles in the jaw softening. The tongue relaxing in the mouth. We're going to begin with 3 deep breaths together now. So I'm going to invite you to take your breath in through your nose and take your breath all the way up to the very top. Holding that breath in at the very top for a moment or two. And then out through the nose all the way down to the very, very end of the breath. I'm going to leave you to take 2 or 3 more of those in your own time. In through the nose and out through the nose. But perhaps most important is that we slow the breath down. Once you have taken your deeper breaths, you can relax back to normal breathing, so softening the chest, the lungs, and allowing the breath to just come and go naturally without any effort. Something that we do when we're in uncomfortable emotional states is that we start to try to run away from it. And I'm going to ask you to do the opposite. You know, we've all experienced feeling really crappy for some reason and trying to fight it or push it away or stop it from happening. And how often have you been successful in that? If we were able to just force our emotions to be what we want them to be, none of us would have any problems. We'd be walking around feeling exactly what we want to feel when we want to feel it. I want you to understand from this practice today that the way to deal with our emotions, even the uncomfortable ones, is rather than to run away from them, is for us to stop and turn and face them. And this is where our yin practice comes in. Yin yoga is a practice of surrender. So I'm going to be guiding you to allow your emotions today, to surrender to them being there, and maybe even welcome them in and make friends with them. So if that sounds a bit impossible, bear with me. You'll see as this unfolds how easy this can be. So first of all, I just want you to allow yourself to notice the feeling of your own body. And don't put a lot of effort into this, just with your eyes closed. Give yourself a moment now to notice that there is a body there and you can feel it. Just allowing yourself some time to deepen this awareness. So you're starting to notice all of the different areas that make up your body. And you're not imagining here or picturing. We don't want to be in mental activity. We want to be just feeling the sensation, feeling the presence of the body. And rather than concentrating on looking very hard, because that's more yang-like effort, I want you to be very yin-like about it. So just allowing the feeling of the body to occur to you more and more. So yin is a very effortless kind of energy. Go in deeper. Let yourself start to have a little feel around muscles, tissues. And just pick up on what's there. You might notice in the muscles that some areas are feeling tense or gripped. When we feel something uncomfortable, the body's natural reaction is to tense against it. It's the body's way of trying to push whatever that was away. And I don't want you to be building any stories in your mind right now about whatever you're finding in your body. We're not here to judge. We're not here to fight, fix, try to change or control whatever we come across. We're here to surrender and allow. To just get to know what's there and maybe even make friends with what's there. So as you start to build a bit of a picture of how your body is feeling, you can start to allow yourself to let go as well. So when you breathe out, your body, you will find, is very willing to let go. Breathing out is where we let go of the things that no longer serve us. So as you're breathing now, I want you to just start to invite your body to let go a little bit each time that you breathe out. And there's no pressure in this invitation. We're not in any kind of a hurry. So as you breathe out, you're not forcing or trying. Again, not going into that yang energy of effort and forcing. Staying very yin-like, surrendering, allowing. So as you're breathing out and letting go, you're just allowing those muscles to let go to whatever degree they want to, at whatever speed they want to. So you're not the driving force, you're just allowing things to unfold. Get into a nice little rhythm, breathing out and letting go. Breathing out and letting go. You may notice feelings or sensations in your body coming from that emotional state. So if you were feeling nervous, you may well notice a feeling of butterflies in the stomach. If you were feeling stressed or fearful, it might feel like weight or pressure in the chest. So as you start to gather this awareness of just how you're feeling and where it is in the body, try not to label, try not to build any stories about what you're observing. We're not here to fight, fix, change, control, or judge. Just allow yourself to notice. What's there, where it's sitting, and say to yourself now, it is safe for me to feel these things. It is safe for me to feel. As we're breathing out, we're allowing the body to continue to find little ways to let go, and we will allow that to continue throughout the practice now. Breathing out, letting go. Breathing out, letting go. What we're aiming for here is to come into a state of much more allowing rather than fighting. We'll take a few more breaths here. And we're ready now to make our way into our first posture. Bringing with us this awareness of our body, this connection we've begun to make. So wriggling fingers, wriggling toes. Taking a deep breath, maybe having a stretch out. And then rolling over onto one side. And pressing into your palm. Bringing yourself up to a seated position, ready for that first posture. We're going to come into a butterfly posture to begin with. So from a seated position, I'm going to ask you to draw your heels in towards you, allowing your knees to come out to the sides. So you want just over a foot gap between sitting bones and heels, allowing your thighs and hips to relax so the knees can drop towards the floor to whatever extent they're going to. If you feel that your knees ache, or if you get very sharp, painful feelings in the hips, just get a block or a cushion, whatever you have to hand, underneath the thighs for support. Or it could just be on one side. And I'll ask you to sit up nice and tall, leaning forwards. Keep the length through your spine. And then when you come about halfway to your capacity, I'm going to ask you to relax now. So allow your spine to round, your head to drop forwards, your neck begins to relax slowly, your stomach begins to let go, your back muscles let go. So you're just kind of allowing yourself to become like a rag doll, just slowly relaxing and giving your body over to the posture. Find just a comfortable position for your hands and arms. That might be resting up onto the feet or out onto the floor in front of you. Just wherever you feel your shoulders softening and just upper body relaxing really in this pose. In any yin posture, we're looking for passivity. We're looking to relax and let go as much as possible. And we're going to be holding this posture for just under 5 minutes now. I'll be guiding you through. So I've given you the option to support the knees or hips if needed. Another option that sometimes we need is to have, if we have a bolster handy, we can use a bolster, or to use cushions or blocks in front, either resting onto the feet or somewhere on the floor, so that we have a ledge to rest the forehead into. This is an option for those of you when you come into the posture. If you feel sharp pains or discomfort in the neck, or anything uncomfortable or sharp in the shoulders, upper, middle, back. Sometimes dropping the weight of the head forwards is just a bit too much for the body. So these options to adjust are there during the times that you find that your body is feeling something that's a bit sharp, a bit aggressive, painful, a sensation that's just you're kind of wincing and wanting to get away from. We want to feel stretch, absolutely, but we don't want it to cross that line into something harsh. So the support is there to back away from those harsh feelings in the stretch, but hopefully to keep the feeling of stretch there. So I'm going to allow you to and take your time adjusting, trying out different options until you find the version of the posture that works for you. And I should say take rests whenever you need to in these postures at any point. But we want to just continue, once we've found that perfect version of the posture for our body, we want to just continue as we were, just tuning in. So I'm going to ask you to just maybe close the eyes and allow yourself to start to notice that feeling of your body again. Something that we do when we are in negative or uncomfortable emotional states is we start to really disconnect from ourselves because we want to get away from that uncomfortable feeling. And I'm going to ask you now to start to tune in, to start to reconnect with what's there. Something that you will learn as we move through this practice and other practices that I'll be doing is that your emotions are very much like dealing with a child or even just a person in your life. Our emotions, they need to be felt. They need to be heard. Sometimes, in order for our emotions to move on, to be processed, they absolutely need to be welcomed and allowed. So even as you come to tune into your body again, you close your eyes and you just let yourself start to feel that feeling of your own body. We're here to be with whatever is here today. Reminding yourself that it is absolutely safe for you to feel whatever it is that you're feeling. So you might just want to start by feeling just the basic feeling of the body, just noticing that the body is there. There's all these different parts that we can feel. If you notice as you feel into your muscles or tissues, if you notice areas of the body that's gripping or tensing, you can just spend a little bit of time with those areas, just breathing, and as you breathe out, just continuously inviting your body, those muscles, to soften, to let go. You'll find the body very willing to let go, but you'll find that it takes time. The body will let go very gradually, in its own time, in its own way, so don't put any pressure on. Don't be in any kind of a hurry. Just allow yourself this time to tune in, to connect with what's there. And allow yourself and your body this time and space to begin to step down, to begin to release and relax. Fight the gripping, the tension, whatever it may be. Each time that you breathe out, there's an opportunity there for you to let go. And as you are allowing this body to let go, as you're tuning in, You might start to notice the feeling of that emotion, that feeling that was with you when you started. Or it might have moved on. There might be different emotions in there now. Just noticing if you're feeling a particular emotion, is it sitting somewhere in your body? Is it in the shoulders? Is it in the chest? Is it in the stomach? In the hips? Through the legs? It could be anywhere. And what does it feel like? So really allow yourself to sink into the feeling of that emotion wherever it's sitting in the body. Just knowing that it's okay for it to be there and that it will move on when it's ready. Okay, so we're going to make our way out from this posture now. So just coming up nice and slowly, really take your time. Once you're upright, bring those knees back to center before you drop the legs down onto the floor, removing any props that you were using. And just either let your body just be still for a moment, you can keep your eyes closed if you want, or give a bit of movement, whatever feels best to you. You might want to do some windshield wiper type movements. Or you might just want to bob the legs up and down. Maybe give the shoulders and neck a little bit of movement. So you're just releasing off the stiffness and that kind of fragile feeling that you have when you come out from a yin posture. So our next posture that we'll be going into is a melting heart posture. So I'm going to ask you to come into a kneeling position. And you may want padding underneath the knees. So blanket's good, a folded blanket or cushions, thin cushions if you have them. And just keeping those big toes together now, but taking the knees as wide as they'll go and walking the hands forward so that the upper body comes down and the head comes to rest into the floor. Have padding under the feet if they dig into the floor, maybe a blanket. And if the head doesn't quite reach the floor, maybe you feel like you need some support under the head using a block or a cushion. Taking the arms stretched out in front of you. If that feels good, that gives you a stretch and an opening through the chest and shoulders. But maybe that feels a bit too strong. Maybe you need to bring the hands down to either elbow, bring the arms closer in towards you. So the arms can sit in any position that feels right for you. You can take your knees wider if you would like to receive more stretch, or closer together if you'd like to receive less stretch through the insides of the legs. Okay, so allowing your body to begin to soften, relax, surrender into this posture. This is a conscious act. We tune in, we meet with the body, we come home to the body with our attention. We allow ourselves to feel the feeling of the body and to begin to feel into the muscles and tissues. And as we breathe just a little with each breath out, we can allow the body that process of letting go now. Really nice to start the process of surrendering with the body because it's more tangible. So as we're breathing out and letting go, we can feel what it feels like to let go. To let effort fall away, to let resistance fall away. We notice naturally then softness and stillness begins to arise. feeling of surrender is a good feeling. You may also notice again the way that you are feeling, whatever emotions are with you. Remembering to treat these emotions as if you would a person that needs time and space to be here, to be allowed, to be heard, to be felt. We're going to take this posture now, and we're going to turn this into melting heart posture. So this is going to be a gentle back bend. It's going to open the shoulders, the chest, and it's going to be an opener into the hips. These are all areas that store stress, tension, negative emotion quite easily. So I'm going to ask you now to just walk your upper body forward. So imagine there's a line between your knees. You're going to lift your hips up now as you come forwards, and just stop when you feel that your hips are just hovering above where that line would be between the knees. You're going to have your arms straight out in front of you, and we allow the chest to drop towards the floor now, so the back will arch. We might need more padding under the knees or under the ankles. We may find this becomes a very strong stretch through the chest and shoulders, so we may need to bring the arms closer in rather than having them stretched out in front of us. Or maybe bring a hand down to either elbow. We may need cushions or blocks to support the head, to rest the forehead into maybe. Or maybe we want to turn the head to the side. The thing is with these yin postures, I always encourage people to use their own intuition, their own ideas on what might suit their body. So if there's some way you just want to slightly adjust or sit, or a prop that you have with you that you want to use in a certain way, there is no one way to do any of these yin postures. They are designed to be really molded to suit your body, and you get inventive with that. Use your own instincts. Basically, if it feels good, it is good. If you're still feeling a nice amount of stretch, but it's not strong, sharp, aggressive, you feel able to be there, you feel able to relax, you're not in a desperate rush to get out of there because the sensation is so strong. And we're in a good place for that middle point, not too little, not too much. Very important when we're dealing with very emotional times that we do come to a gentle edge in the body, because these emotions are stored in the body, and we want to deal with the body in the way that we would do like a kind of frightened animal. You know, we want to come in gradually, gently. We're not going to shock anything. We're not going to force or push or be aggressive. We're going to be really kind, really patient, really gentle, easing up to a soft edge, and then just waiting and waiting for the body to invite us in a little bit deeper. And we can always respond, we can always deepen if we feel that happening. So as you breathe here, just allowing, although the body is a little bit activated, we are allowing the body to find little ways to let go. It's the thing I love about yin. The only thing that you need to worry about is this process of just breathing out and allowing your body to find little ways to let go. And we can say to any emotion that comes up, you are welcome here. Don't be afraid to speak to them. Speak to those emotions when they come up. You might feel depressed, or you might feel sad, or grief, or anger, and I'll always say, you are welcome here. Sometimes I'll tell my emotions that you are valid. Or Sometimes I'll say, it's safe for me to feel you. And I'll repeat those affirmations or sentences to you as we move on. But if you are feeling something strong and you just say in this moment to that emotion, you are welcome here and you are valid. The emotion doesn't necessarily shift, but feel the sense of ease that comes in with that. The comfort in surrendering rather than fighting and judging. Your emotion is part of you. So when we try to run away from it, stop it, judge it, push it away, we're doing that to part of ourselves. And it feels really good to say, actually, you're part of me. You are welcome here. You're valid. And it's safe for me to feel you. Last few breaths here in this posture. And I hope those of you that needed to took breaks before this point. Remember, you don't have to wait for me to tell you to come out. So coming back now to a kneeling position again, bringing the knees back together and just bringing yourself either down into a child's pose, maybe a block under the head or a cushion under the head might be needed in child's pose. Or if you don't like child's pose, if that doesn't feel good, just lay onto your back and hug your knees in towards your chest. Maybe rock the knees from side to side. Just take a little rest. Let everything return to normal. So from child's pose, bring yourself back to an upright position and come onto all fours. We're going to move into Pigeon. So I'm going to ask you to take your right leg forwards first. So that right leg comes through and in front. And the left leg goes back. We allow the hips to drop down as low as they go into. We want to walk that back leg back, back, back. And just pause there for a moment. You may feel that this is already feeling quite strong. Maybe you would like to just stay resting into the palms with straight arms. But maybe you need a cushion underneath the right hip for a little bit of support. Or maybe you want to change the angle of that front leg. If you bring the foot closer in towards the midline of the body, it'll feel more gentle. If you take that foot higher up, it'll feel stronger for you. So you can have a little bit of play around there. If any of you have anything going on with the knees, or if the knees are screaming at you right now, I want you to come out and I want you to come into an alternative posture. So laying onto your back instead. Bringing your feet in, your right foot up onto your left knee, and taking hold around the back of the thigh or the knee. This thread the needle pose, this is your alternative posture. For those of you in Pigeon, staying on straight arms for now, and then at some point if you feel the need to deepen, you can allow yourself to come down. So you might want to come down to forearms. You might want to come all the way down, but now's your time. Or at any point if you feel that you need to deepen, you can do that. And we're just going to hold this for a couple of minutes on each side. So again, don't find that aggressive edge. Be gentle, feel something, but don't be aggressive. Give your body the version of the posture that it needs. So just as we're honouring the emotions, we're nurturing them, we're looking after them, doing the same with the body, listening to the body, to its signs and signals, and giving the body what it needs. Body and emotions are tied together. They're one and the same. So if you was feeling some strong fear or anxiety, and then you put your hips into something really, really aggressive, that may well trigger that anxiety more and more and more. What happens to one happens to the other, so we need to be working with both side by side. And just again, just inviting you to keep that breath smooth and relaxed, and just keep allowing that body to find little ways to let go. Just coming towards the last few breaths here on this side. Okay, so not too long there on that side. We're going to bring ourselves back up, straightening the arms if we came down low. And just tucking the back foot under, pressing into the palms and working back to either a tabletop type position or coming back to a down dog, and just giving a little bit of gentle movement. Stay present with your body, keep that breath smooth, just be listening and feeling into how your body wants to move. Feeling the way that sensations that built up are easing off and easing away. Feeling the way that things shift and move as we come out of a posture. And then when you're ready, you can come to the other side, left side now, so the left leg comes in front and the right leg goes back. So we walk the right leg back until the hips drop down low as they're going to go. Might not be as low as mine. And then we just listen again, because this side might feel different. If you're using that alternative posture, that thread the needle posture, then it's the left foot onto the right knee. With that posture, that alternative posture, just know that if you're taking hold around the back of the thigh, it's more gentle, and if you're taking hold around the knee, it's a little bit deeper. Okay, so if you're in your pigeon and you want to lower, you can. Again, don't just assume that what you do on one side is suitable for the other. So just listen first. If that body wants a little bit more stretch, something a little deeper, you can come down to forearms and come all the way down. Or if forearms on the floor is too far down, have a cushion, a block, a bolster, something underneath you to lean into. Find your way into your version of the posture, a version that allows you to be reached but allows you to comfortably be there, and then soften. Little by little, breath by breath, find little ways to let go, little ways to release. Nothing we need to hold on for or hold on to now. Just allow your body that time it needs to find little ways to let go. So we are just monitoring, we're just noticing if we start to get into resistance against our emotions. Just sense if that feeling of fighting with yourself or battling against yourself comes up. Resisting, not wanting to feel the way you feel. Judging the way you feel as wrong. So we just want to notice if that comes up, because that's a habit that we've developed. And when it does, we just want to soften again, and maybe just repeating those words to your emotions. You are welcome here. If you are angry, that anger is welcome. It's important actually, and you are valid. And it is safe to feel you. welcome, you are valid, and it is safe to feel you. If your emotions have shifted and maybe you're feeling peaceful, maybe you're feeling relief, the other thing we need to allow is for this constant shifting and changing of emotions. And it's a good thing, nothing ever stays. There isn't an emotion that you ever felt that stayed. Every time you get into an emotional state, it is temporary. So if you're feeling something negative, let it be there. If you're feeling something positive, let it be there. Don't try to grip onto what you want to keep hold of. Don't try and fight away what you want to get away from. Remember, there is something very pleasant about the surrender to what is. If you were feeling something a bit uncomfortable and you said to that discomfort, you are welcome and you are actually valid, and it is safe for you to be here. And I know you'll move on when you're ready, but for now it's safe for you to be here. Feel the ease in that, feel the relief in allowing what is there to be there. Equally, not trying to grip hold and stay in something that feels comfortable, because it's kind of constantly move and shift. We can't stop that change. Last few breaths on this side. Okay, so to come out, we'll straighten the arms and tuck the back toes under, or back toe under, and press into the palms and make our way back to a down dog, maybe a tabletop, and just give our body a little bit of movement, easing off any stiffness, any sensation that built up. And when you're ready, if you're in down dog, come down to the knees, and then bringing the legs around in front of you, laying down onto your back, we'll come into a twist now, a reclined twist. So the arms relax out to the sides at 90 degrees. And we tuck the knees in towards the chest, taking the knees down to the right hand side first of all, and then just popping something under the knees if needed. So the legs might be happy to make their way all the way down onto the floor. That might feel too strong. So if that's too much, we just get a cushion or cushions, bolster block, whatever you have, underneath those knees. So the legs don't have to go as far. We want to look in the opposite direction, drawing the opposite shoulder down, but then allowing everything to relax. Turning the head back to center if that doesn't feel good to you. Or giving your head some support or neck support with a cushion or a rolled blanket if needed. Okay, and just allow your body to soften in once more. Surrender. Breathe out, let go. Letting go always happens without effort. We can't try hard to let go, we just have to allow it to happen. So as we breathe out, there's an invitation there for the body to let go, but it's an invitation without pressure. There's no pressure, there's no need, there's no hurrying, it's just breathing and allowing that body to find little ways to let go. And your body surrendering to the posture gradually. And any emotions, if they're sticking around, they're still there. Sometimes just, allowing the emotion, giving it its time and space to be felt and heard is enough, and it moves on. But sometimes there's something more there for us to learn, something more for us to discover, some insight. So if you do find strong emotions still sitting with you, you might want to just pose a question now. Is there anything that you need from me? And it may be that you Don't have anything come up. I want you to stay kind of empty. I don't want you to get into too much mental activity. So you may get nothing come up as you pose that question to this emotion. Is there anything you need from me? Or something may come to you. Doesn't matter. It could be if you were feeling very stressed and anxious maybe, and you asked that feeling, is there anything you need from me? It might be, I need you to stop and do this more often. Or I need you to take a few things off your to-do list. Or it could be something really simple like, I need you to take 5 minutes alone every now and then, or I need a warm blanket over me right now, or I need to curl up into a ball and feel safe. There's no rules and there's no right or wrongs in terms of what can come up here. There might just be a little bit of insight, that emotion might just let you know. Your mind gets really busy, then just know, as I always teach, as you breathe out and let go with your body, you are able to breathe out and let go mentally as well. So that chatter that comes in, that's not something that's serving us. It could be, your mind jumping off into analysis of a situation or worry, or it can be just something really random like, what am I going to have for dinner? But if your mind goes off into that chatter, just breathing out and just letting whatever started up, just let it fall away from you. So you're not just letting go of effort in the body, you're letting go of effort in the mind as well. Every time that you breathe out, there is an opportunity there for you to let go. It might be physically, it might be mentally. And when you do get those little insights, when you do pose those questions, they come out of being empty. They come out of the space between the thoughts. So we can't mentally look for them. We just have to kind of mentally let go and just allow it to come up if it's going to come up. So we're going to take our last few breaths on this side. Notice how it felt being in this posture. Those sensations of release or stretch or softening or surrender or whatever it may be. So meant to make our way out, we'll draw the knees into center. And just take a moment, it feels really nice to just hug the knees in towards the chest and rock the knees from side to side. Maybe massaging the lower back into the floor. Releasing hips, lower back. And then taking your knees down to the left-hand side. So knees come in, feet leave the floor. Knees go down to the left. We could feel something completely different on this side. So be aware that you might need a different version or adaptation. So as the knees go to the left, have blocks or props underneath the knees if it feels too strong. If not, knees come to the floor. Head looks in the opposite direction. Opposite shoulder draws down if there's room to. Sometimes you will find that opposite shoulder just hangs off of the floor. Totally fine as long as it doesn't feel bad. So sometimes you just get like a nice little tuggy, stretchy feeling across the front of the chest or shoulder. But sometimes that feels twingy, sharp, painful. So you can always get a rolled blanket or just a folded blanket under that shoulder and upper arm to give support there if you need. So we just, again, we've got to connect, we've got to be conscious. So with the eyes closed, we let ourselves feel the feeling of that body. That's how we make that connection, because we don't want a mental connection. We want to connect in a way that we are really sinking into our senses and we're letting ourselves feel the feeling of the body. We're not analysing the body, we're not picturing it, we're just feeling it. Noticing the feeling of it and feeling into muscles, feeling into tissues. How is your body responding to this posture? Is it resisting? Is it holding itself out? Or is it letting go? Is the stretch good? Or is it too strong? Do we need support? So we just want to suss this stuff out as we come in. And remember, breathing out, letting go. Breathing out, letting go. Another question to pose now, if there's a particular strong or uncomfortable, challenging emotion that's sticking around, remember we want to keep surrendering and allowing it space, allowing it room to be there. And if it's still there, a good time to pose the question, is there anything you have to tell me? Is there any insight here for me? Anything that I haven't seen or understood that I need to know? It could be a memory that could come up, a moment in time where you first felt this particular feeling, an insight as to where it first came from. Don't have your judgments and your expectations in this moment. Something might come up, something might not come up, and what comes up might not even make complete sense. You just want to be kind of empty and open. Is there anything that you have to tell me? Is there anything here for me to learn? Coming towards our last few breaths on that side. Drawing the knees in towards the chest, rocking the knees from side to side, massaging the lower back into the floor. We're going to bring ourselves into our last posture now. So we did a seated butterfly at the beginning. We're going to end in it for a few minutes in a reclined butterfly. So from a seated position, you can bring your heels in and your knees out to the side. We don't leave a gap this time, so the heels can come close in towards the sitting bones, knees out to the side. Thighs and hips can relax, and if we need support to the thighs or hips, use cushions or blocks under the thighs, under the knees. We're laying back into the floor, and if any of you have cushions or even a yoga bolster available to you, you can have a version laying back over the bolster or the cushions. So it gives you a little added twist that you get a bit of a back bend, but it really opens up the front of the body. I really highly recommend this one actually if you've been feeling very anxious, stressed or fearful. So just bringing that bolster into the small of the back, or just placing the cushions behind you and just reclining back over those. The arms can come out to the side, and I recommend taking them up. So they're still resting into the floor, they come up higher, and the higher up they come, the more stretch we get through the front of the chest. Maybe even you want like a cactus arms kind of shape. Maybe you want to tuck the fingers around the back of the neck or head and let the elbows fall to the sides. So we're opening up the heart space, opening up the chest, an area that can get closed down and clogged up when we're feeling negative emotion. Just take some nice, smooth, deep breaths here. Allow your body to let go. Near the end here, you may still be feeling that same emotion that you came in with that was challenging you, and there is nothing wrong with that. I promise you that when it's ready, it will absolutely move on. That might have shifted as well, that's fine. Maybe you feel more calm, more settled. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what happens, we're just going to allow whatever's happening to happen. You may feel ready to just reach for some better feeling thoughts now. And that might be something simple like, I'm really glad that I stopped and gave myself this time. Or it might be, I'm really glad that I have a safe space to do this in. I'm really grateful for my body that moves and that I can feel that it's calmed and settled. My breath is slower, my heart rate is slower, and I'm really grateful that my body's so good at doing that. It could be something like, I'm really grateful that I have family and friends around me. Sometimes when things are really bad, it can just be a thought as simple as, well, I'm still breathing. I'm still here. And I'm still breathing. You might say to yourself, I know I have the tools to deal with whatever I have to deal with. I know that it's safe for me to feel my emotions. Maybe you say thank you for the surrender, for the relief in surrendering. Just taking a few more breaths here. And just slow movements to make our way out now. So slowly drawing those knees back to center. Maybe you want to rock the knees from side to side a little, or press the feet into the floor and lift the hips for a moment if you had a bolster or cushions beneath you. And when you're ready, using those stomach muscles and those hands to walk your way back up to seated, or coming to the side and then coming up. And just leaning forwards for a moment with crossed legs or bent legs, but just opening out the back in the opposite direction for a few moments, for a few more breaths. And allowing yourself to lie back onto the floor once more. Just laying flat for a closing Shavasana. So the feet can come out towards the edge of the mat unless you have a bolster or cushions under the legs. A little bend into the legs gives support to the lower back. Arms relaxed into the floor, slightly away from the body. Eyes closed, blanket over the body if you feel at all chilly. I'm just going to give you a little bit of space. I'm just going to talk you into a simple relaxation technique. As you close your eyes and you settle in and you allow your body to relax into this position, I want you to just notice the feeling of the floor beneath you. So run your attention down the back of the body and just notice the contact between the back of the body and the floor. In those areas where you can feel contact between your body and floor, it's where you feel the feeling of weight. It's like the feeling of gravity. Noticing that each time you breathe out and let go, your body feels just a little bit heavier. And your body sinks a little bit deeper into that lovely solid support of the floor beneath you. I'm just going to give you a little bit of time on your own to just breathe and sink and settle and soften. And I'll let you know when it's time to come out. we've had a few minutes just to allow that body to recalibrate. But we're ready to move now, so you might want to take a deeper breath or a couple of deeper breaths, and then you might feel ready to start to move your fingers and toes. Maybe you want to drop your head down from side to side, giving your neck a little stretch out. And even near the end here, if whatever was with you emotionally is still there, the practice for you now is to just keep surrendering. Allow, 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 and then allow some more. Maybe bringing your feet together, your hands together, drawing your arms up above you, reaching fingertips away, reaching toes away, having a nice big stretch out, waking everything up. And then rolling over onto your right side. And just pausing for a moment. Coming up to a seated position. Thank you for being here with me for this practice. Let me know how you got on in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more videos. And as always, the light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.